Sam Young, great to see you again. Thanks so much for coming back on to Talk Beliefs all the way from Sugar Land, Texas. You are the founder of Protect LDS Children, which campaigns to stop the practice of worthiness interviews for very young children by leaders within the Mormon Church. So how have you been since our last chat?
Well, frankly, I've been busy climbing mountains all over the place, moving our next initiative forward.
And it's a bit stormy there at the moment, isn't it?
Well, it is. Tropical storm Imelda is right above the city, wreaking havoc with thunderstorms. Not much in the way of wind, but the thunderstorms has caused a lot of flooding around town. We're okay where I'm at, but the roads are kind of impassable right now.
So just to recap, you were a bishop in the LDS, that is the Mormon Church, but then you became concerned when LDS children were required to attend so-called worthiness interviews within the church, where very personal sexual questions were asked of very young church members behind closed doors. You campaigned against this and consequently were kicked out of the church. So now you've organized a march for October 5th. So Sam, tell us about this march and why is it important and why now?
So you mentioned that I was the founder of Protect LDS Children. That was our thrust last year, was looking at making the Mormon Church safer for children. Mm-hmm. However, after I was kicked out of the church, I started considering really the problem of sex abuse in institutions, the Mormon Church, the Catholic Church, the Baptist. It's in every institution that I decided to expand the campaign to protect every child. So that is our movement today, Protect Every Child. So we have the march scheduled for October the 5th, 2019 in Salt Lake City. Mm-hmm. And the thrust of this march is it's a march to end child abuse wherever it is found. Right. There's several other aspects to it, but that's basically what it is. The first national march of its kind to end child abuse.
Sam, you must have been busy this year preparing for the October 5th march. I know that this year the movement has been expanded to protect every child, as you said, regardless of religious affiliation. But what other actions have had to be taken leading up to this march?
I've organized one march, and that was March of 2018. We had 1,000 people show up for that. And that was mostly in the Mormon, ex-Mormon community. Mm-hmm. This march, however, is expanded to everybody in the nation, every parent with children in whatever religion or other child-serving institution. And so I don't have a lot of experience, but I've got a little experience. And my major concern is how do you build up? How do you build up excitement and maintain visibility and increase awareness for what's coming up in October the 5th? So we decided to do on January 1st, we kicked off a campaign to climb a mountain, unfurl a banner, and save a child. Proclaim from a mountaintop the most important message of our day: protect every child. So there have been hundreds of people that have climbed mountains around the world, from Africa to Europe to Mexico to all over the United States, to raise awareness to this, to raise awareness to what's coming up. And that's the way we've kind of built some momentum.
And even if they couldn't climb a mountain, you said even go to the end of your driveway and do it. Isn't that right?
Yes. So climb a mountain, go to a hilltop or the top of your driveway, or even post a flag on the top of your bed with a cat. Somebody sent a wonderful picture of their flag laid out across the bed with a cat at the very top of it. So yeah, post a banner anywhere, share it, we'll share it. to help us raise awareness.
Right. So what comes to mind, though, is, Sam, why haven't there been marches like this, for causes like this done before?
Well, I think, first of all, that is kind of interesting. Why our children are kind of put dead last in all the causes the major causes that have caused wonderful change in our society, why this hasn't happened. Frankly, I think the reason that it has not come to light, who likes to talk about sex abuse, child sex abuse. It's just something you don't like to talk about it, and so you sweep it under the rug. And another reason is that it kind of touches everybody. So if you've got a family where there's been child sex abuse and it's going to affect that family, they kind of don't want to talk about it, so they sweep it under the rug. I think those are the major reasons. It's just not an enjoyable, fun. Well, I guess the other things, women's suffrage, that's easy to talk about to get a vote. It's easy to talk about. There shouldn't be discrimination based on race. But
people don't feel comfortable talking about it, do they?
Yes, exactly.
Well, you've already received significant press coverage, so this should raise a lot of awareness. Now, do you expect the LDS Church to take any notice, though?
Well, I expect the LDS Church to take a notice, and every other church. I expect every institution to take notice. What we're hoping to do is raise this to the national spotlight here in the United States. Hopefully it would be around the world, but I'm hoping that this will be raised to a national spotlight like other major movements that have taken place in this country, like women's suffrage, civil rights, LGBT equality. All of those causes were elevated to the national spotlight by marches and rallies to send the message to the country. A ton of people are serious about this. You need to pay attention. So I'm counting on institutions, the government, people to pay attention. It's time for adults to stand up for what is happening to our children.
So are there any other supporting organizations involved? And will you, for instance, be having any featured speakers at the march?
Okay, so yes, this year. So last year, it was one organization, Protect LDS Children, that was calling for changes in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This year, it's a national movement aimed at much more broadly. So we have formed a coalition. There are about 15 members of our coalition that are highly interested in making sure there's justice, making sure there's training, making sure that there are prevention measures to prevent child abuse and to help healing from child abuse. So we have several substantial organizations that are on board with this cause to end child abuse and supporting the march.
Okay, Sam, if people want to know how to support this march and protect LDS children in general, what do they have to do?
It's pretty simple. First of all, those that can come to the march. We've had many people already register to come to the march. Registration is not necessary, but again, you can go to the website, protecteverychild.com, click on the button to register for the march. You don't have to. We're going to have many people show up that didn't register, but we have people that have registered from 26 states around the country that are coming to Salt Lake City for this historic moment. We have people that have registered that are coming here from the Philippines, from Peru. We have, I think it's like 4 or 5 people that are flying here from the UK. We have people coming from Australia. So it really is an international group that will be there, but this makes it national and international. Now, how else can you support this? Number one is to come to the march. Number two, we're expecting 5,000 people to come to this march. I know that there are millions of people that want to stop child abuse, but it costs a ton of money to get that message out. Well, we're spending money. We're doing all kinds of things to make people aware of this march. I expect 5,000 people there. But it really should be, we have the opportunity to make it 100,000 human being or 1,000,000 human being march remotely. So anybody that can't come to the march, here's what I'd like you to do. Watch the march. It'll be live streamed on Facebook. Watch the march. Like it. Could we have 100,000 likes? Could we go to the media? Could we go to the legislators? Could we go to the Catholic Church, the Baptist Church, the evangelical churches and say, look, there are 100,000 people that just marched, 5,000 in Salt Lake City, another 100,000 across the country that liked or made a comment or shared the video on their Facebook stream. So I'm hoping that we will have hundreds of thousands of people participate in that. And I would highly invite you to do that. This will be a historic thing. I was a kid, 10, 12, when the civil rights movements occurred, the civil rights marches.
Mm-hmm.
What a historic thing that was. I would have loved to have been in these major movements accomplishing wonderful change. Well, here we are at the outset, at the very start of a major movement to protect our children. I invite everybody to be a part of this amazing thing of the first march, to stand up for the human rights of every child, the human right to grow up in a world free from child abuse. And it's so just watching, clicking like, and commenting would send a big message.
Okay, I will put all the links in the description below so people can do exactly that. Lots of likes, lots of shares, hopefully, and perhaps be there in person, even better. So, Sam Young, thank you so much once again for coming on to the show, and of course for what you are doing, because it is very, very important.
Thank you, Mark. This is great. I appreciate the follow-up interview.
No problem. Hopefully we can catch up with you again after the march and see, have a bit of a breakdown and see how pleased you are with it.
Well, I would love to come back and report on what has happened. What I know is marvelous things are going to happen. The effort we did last year, the Mormon Church did not eliminate the one-on-one interviews. They didn't eliminate sex questions. However, substantial changes were made, but the big thing, parents are aware. Bishops are aware. There have been bishops, local and regional leaders that have started saying, you know what, I'm not doing that in my ward anymore. I'm not subjecting kids to this. There have been lots of parents that have said, no one-on-one interview for my kid, and you don't ask my kid any sex questions. Now, that's in the minority, but you know what? If we save one child, according to a Jewish proverb, you save one person, you save the world. We have saved children from abuse that would hound them their entire life. So I know this march, if only one person shows up to that march, we are going to save a child, but we're going to have thousands of people participate.
Fantastic. Sam Young, thank you very much.
Thank you. The history of our great country has been graced by movements that have peacefully given voice to marginalized segments of our population. To name a few: women's suffrage, civil rights, and LGBT equality. These causes were launched into the national spotlight by marches and rallies. Over the past couple of decades, an epidemic of child abuse has come to light. Scandals splash across the headlines almost daily. Children are being abused in every type of child-serving institution. 1 out of every 4 girls is abused by the time she hits her 18th birthday. The same holds true for 1 out of every 6 boys. What a tragic travesty that our society has permitted this to go on for so long. Those who stood up and marched for civil rights, suffrage, and equality were adults. Good for them. Adults heroically standing up for their own rights. But what of the children? They can't march for themselves. They are children who don't yet comprehend the grave danger they face. It's time that we, the adults, heroically give our children voice. On October 5th, 2019, an historic event will take place in Salt Lake City, Utah. The very first march and rally of its kind. And what are we marching for? Number one, this will be the very first national march to bring an end to child abuse. Number two, the first national march to raise visibility to the foremost health problem facing our children today, child abuse. Number three, the first national rally to raise awareness to a core cause of addiction, homelessness, incarceration, juvenile delinquency, suicide, teen pregnancy, and violent crime. Child abuse is the feeding system for almost every social ill in our country. Finally, this will be the first national march to stand up for the human rights of every child. A child's right to grow up in a world free from abuse. We expect 5,000 people to march with us on October the 5th. Frankly, it's embarrassing to only imagine 5,000. In my heart of hearts, I know that there are millions of us who want to see an end to this horrendous plague on our children. Come march with us. Adults, let's stand up for our children. Be a part of this heroic and historic moment. There is no greater cause.